Hello, how are you? Well, I hope you saw my last two videos, especially the last one about papacy and pharmakia or pharmacy. And today I want to continue a little bit with the Pope and then go towards the mark of the beast. Saw a video, German video, and the person that did the video shared an article or announcement by the Pope that he wants to become honorable head of all churches. Honorable head of all churches. In other words, he wants to really go back to having control and power over all churches. Now, this is not anything new. He's been doing that for a long time. He's been making treaties and saying things that make the Protestant churches want to come back to Mother Church. My last video I talked about the horse of the great whore, right? Babylon the Great and her children. If she's the mother of all whores, that means she has whoring children. Why does she have whoring children? Because many of the Protestant churches really never left the Catholic Church. And some German lady wanted to know, well, how can you give me some examples? And of course, all I had to say is read Frank Viola's Pagan Christianity, and you will know which of the things that the Protestant churches still kept doing. Now, this statement came from a Seventh-day Adventist pastor, preacher, and of course, you know I do not agree with everything or most of what the Seventh-day Adventist Church is preaching. And because the things they are preaching, they are really major mistakes. For instance, they do believe that the Pope is the man of sin, or that the Pope is Babylon the Great. They absolutely show that very clearly, and that's why he brought this up, that he wants to become honorable head of all churches. Because, of course, what this belief kind of then leads to is to believe that the Pope is the one that is causing the mark of the beast. But that is not the case. The Pope does not cause the mark of the beast. And they continue to say, oh, well, but he is going to cause the Sunday law, and then the Sunday law is the mark of the beast. No, those are really severe mistakes. And these severe mistakes are built on the belief that the Pope, the man of sin, or Babylon the Great, and the beast that he's sitting on, or she is sitting on, is one. Really think this is one. And that is not true. The beast, clearly, when we look at the beast in Revelation 13, the beast out of the sea, is a political system, just like the other beasts are. When we go back to Daniel 7, we see clearly, if we compare it to Daniel 2 in the statue, we see very clearly that these four beasts are empires, world empires, four empires the last one lasting until Christ returns. So we need to think which empire will last until Christ returns. 4 empires. What do we have? Of course, we have the Babylonian, the Persian, the Greek, and the Roman. And of course, the Roman is not finished. It turned into this different beast that had 10 horns. So that's why this last beast out of the sea still continues today. And that is Europe. Europe had a head wound. The Seventh-day Adventist Church believes the head wound was done to the Pope himself. But that's not true. Yes, papacy was wounded in a sense. It lost some of its control. But the head wound was done to the beast. The beast has the heads, not the little horn. The little horn, when we look at Revelation 17, and John saw it a lot closer, of course, is Babylon the Great. And then we know that, hey, the whore is separate, different than the beast. So we need to understand that. And this Babylon the Great, of course, has been controlling the beast ever since papacy started. It controlled the political system. It used the political system to actually exist, to kill the saints. Without the political system and the military of the political system, the papacy wouldn't have any power. Because, see, the political system has to inform it. They have to, enforce the power of the papacy. And they also have to secure it through military means. Has always been that way. So I think I know that the Seventh-day Adventist Church does not believe that. And so they have some major flaws, even though some of the things are correct. And this is how they can deceive people. They can give you very good evidence that papacy is Babylon the Great, or that papacy is the man of sin. Somebody said, well, the Seventh-day Adventists do not believe that papacy is Antichrist. I don't know about that, but since most people believe that the man of sin is Antichrist, and that's what Martin Luther and the Reformers believe, I don't know, maybe they don't. Of course, the Bible does not mention anything about Antichrist being a ruler. We know that. 1st and 2nd John says that Antichrist is everybody, plural, who reject Jesus as coming in the flesh or as being God in the flesh. So yeah, I understand that if they acknowledge that. So another flaw, of course, which I already mentioned, is the fact that they believe that papacy, Babylon the Great, gives the mark of the beast. But that's not true either. When we look at Revelation 13, the man or the beast out of the earth, or the false prophet, is the one that gives the mark of the beast. So the beast out of the earth is again an empire that Daniel didn't mention, because Daniel only mentioned 4 empires, and he also knows that the last empire, the last beast, last until Christ returns. So there has to be a parallel beast or empire. Now, how can that be? That's because the beast out of the sea was an empire until the Second or First World War. That's when he got the head wound. That's when he lost power in the world. And this is how this last beast out of the earth could step in and become world empire. It's very simple. This last beast, this false prophet, got its power from the first beast, which is the beast out of the the sea. And it got its power when they kind of invited the United States into the First and Second World War by England. This is how the United States became an empire. And so therefore, the United States today is that parallel empire that exists at the end, and it will be the only empire until Christ's return. There is no talk about anything else or any ruler. The man of sin or Babylon the Great is a religious system. Why? Because it's a whore. I've talked about that in my last video. And so it is the political system that will administer the mark of the beast. So this whole thing about Sunday law that the Adventist Church believes is false. The Sunday law is never going to be the mark. We already have the Sunday law right now. Go to Europe and you'll know that there's a Sunday law. Nobody gets harmed or anything, but there's still extreme pressure to keep that Sunday law. And in Europe, in Germany, you do not, the stores are closed, all the businesses are closed, and it's because of the Sunday law. But nobody got killed because of it. And there's no mark, and people can still buy and sell. So it has to be related specifically to buying and selling, and of course a lot more than buying and selling. Owning has to do with buying and selling. You can't own anything. Once the mark of the beast gets started, that's going to be it. You're going to be totally controlled. You're going to be totally in the hands of the government, not the man of sin or not Babylon the Great. Even though Babylon the Great rules everything, okay, from the shadows. It rules still Europe. It's still, right now, not still, but it rules the United States at this point as well. We have a secret shadow government, and that shadow government is the Vatican. No doubt in my mind. No absolute doubt in my mind. Just look at the financial system. It's backed, or the owners, really, the banks and the rich people that really own it. You can get into that, and most likely get their power from the Pope. That's true. You look at all the educational system, the universities, many of them are actually led by Jesuits. Now you look at the Supreme Court, and you can see how many are Catholics or Masons that also bow down and are controlled by the Jesuits. Then you go to, let's say, the Bar Association. I bet you can find a connection to the Jesuits there as well. Then, of course, go to politics. Well, the Catholics have infiltrated into the politics. Used to be in the hands of the evangelicals, but that has changed. Why? Because the evangelical that are now controlling the politics, as we have seen through Trump, the people that supported Trump, are all bowing down to the Pope. That is right. They are Zionist Christians, and they're bowing down to the Pope. They have already accepted the Pope as the honorable head of the church. Yeah, even Evangelical Free Church. That is true. And I'm not pulling this by the hair. It is true for sure. So we can see there is a connection, yes, between papacy, which is the man of sin or Babylon the Great, and the beast, even the beast out of the earth. Because the beast out of the earth gets its power from the same place. It gets it from the dragon, and the dragon is Satan. And Satan's, first man, right-hand man, is either the Pope or the Black Pope. So, don't know for sure who has the reins in the Vatican. Is the White Pope only a representative? Of course, now the White Pope is a Jesuit, so we don't have to worry about that one, right? But this is how the hierarchy is working. So the beast out of the earth is the one that's administering the mark of the beast. Now, we are lucky if we are true believers, if we have the Holy Spirit. We are truly lucky because I believe, or the Bible actually shows it, that this mark of the beast is not administered until the wrath of God. That means the day of the Lord has to start and the rapture has to happen. So first the rapture happens, then the wrath of God. And we see that the first plague during the wrath of God, and I believe it's the first trumpet, we see that those people that took the mark of the beast receive some boils. Okay, so that tells me that the mark of the beast is administered during the wrath of God. Because it's mentioned 2 times during the wrath. There's another time, I think the 5th bowl maybe, could be the 5th bowl, where it's mentioned again that those people who do not have the mark, or who took the mark, I think, will be bitten, stung by these scorpions. So I think that's another indication right there. Again, during the wrath of God. When the wrath of God starts and the rapture happens, there's going to be lots of chaos. And the government has to put something in place to control things. And I believe that's going to be part of what he is going to do. Right now, the governments are preparing for this mark of the beast. And we see that, especially in Europe, but also in the States, that they are right now preparing to implement the digital currency, central bank digital currency. In other words, they will have a central bank. And of course, they probably call it federal, right? Federal bank under the Federal Reserve. And that will eliminate a lot of the little banks. And of course, they will implement a digital currency. And this digital currency, again, will lead to this mark. There's no doubt in my mind. There's going to be more things happening, most likely, in connection with this digital currency. We'll probably have a digital identification, of course, on the forehead or on the hand. I don't know what it's going to be. Is it going to be some kind of tattoo? Or is it a chip? I have a tendency to believe it's more like a tattoo. So then when there's a digital currency, there's also, like I said, a digital identification number. And we'll probably have everything under that digital identification number, including our health records, our educational credentials. I mean, everything. And therefore, nobody can buy or sell during that time. Yeah, my dog back here, he's stirring again. It's my daughter's, sorry. My daughter's dog. I'm dog sitting. And she gets jealous sometimes of the cat. And sometimes, most of the time, they're kind of peacefully coexisting. But yeah, anyways, so this digital ID, let's call it ID, the mark, will control everything. I have thought about, how in the world are they going to implement that? But when I came back from Germany and I entered, of course, the United States through customs, I didn't even have to show my passport. All they did is they had a camera, I guess, and identified my face, and that was it. All my information was in a database, in a computer database. And all they had to do is look at my face. I bet it was my face, my retina, or whatever. I don't know. I think it's my face, facial identification, and yeah. So they already have a database for me in this huge computer. So all they have to do is combine the rest. I don't know. Do they have at that point also my medical? Do they have then eventually have my financial information? Now the question for us then is, so you do see that the mark of the beast is not implemented by papacy, but papacy definitely will support it, push it, and maybe even in the back, in the shadow, create it. But it will be a political implementation. Of course, maybe by all NATO states. At that time, I believe the Third World War has started. In other words, United will be actively involved in a Third World War. So are the European states, the NATO. And even more, important for them to control people. Like I said, there's going to be lots of things happening in terms of the wrath of God and catastrophic events. There's going to be a lot of, like the war, Third World War, and the rapture. Then may possibly saying, that aliens took those people. It's a good chance that that's actually what they're going to say. But there's going to be aliens out there. Whether they're friendly or not friendly. Helping humanity most likely. And I think lots of stuff will happen during that time. So yeah, I just wanted to do a video about that and kind of add this idea about the mark of the beast and how papacy is involved in that. Of course, in the shadows, they are, because they are really in the hierarchy. It's a thing of Satan. Satan is going to plan that in order to control humankind. And so it may just come through the Pope, but it will be implemented through, I'm just looking outside, through the political system. Because papacy does not have any power. They don't have military power. They don't have anything to implement it. It has to go through through political system. Anyways, I'm coming to an end. Let the Holy Spirit guide you always.